Imagine you're stuck in a long, pointless meeting. The presenter keeps talking, but your mind is somewhere else. You're staring at your notes, doodling random shapes, waiting for it to end. You're trapped in a boring meeting that feels like it will never end. The speaker keeps talking, but you're lost in your own thoughts, absent-mindedly scribbling on your notepad. You lean over to your coworker and whisper, "What's the purpose of this meeting?" They shrug, looking just as lost as you. The boss keeps talking, flipping through slides full of charts no one understands. You turn to your coworker and quietly ask, "Why are we even here?" They just shrug, clearly as confused as you. Meanwhile, your boss keeps flipping through endless slides of numbers that mean nothing to anyone. You glance at the clock. Still 30 minutes to go. You start wondering, what does purpose even mean? And why does it feel like this meeting has none? You shift in your seat, trying to focus, but your mind drifts again. You check the time. 30 more minutes? You sigh and think, why are we even doing this? It all feels pointless. You try to pay attention, but your mind keeps wandering. Now, picture this. You're at a party, laughing, having fun. Music is playing, people are chatting, and you're holding a drink, enjoying the moment. Imagine you're at a party. Music's playing, people are talking, and you're just chilling with your drink, enjoying the vibe. Suddenly, splash. Cold soda all over your brand new shirt. You freeze. You turn to see your friend holding an empty cup, a guilty but amused look on his face. Out of nowhere, splash. Ice cold soda all over your clean shirt. You freeze. You look up and see your friend holding an empty cup, trying not to laugh. "Did you do that on purpose?" you ask, raising an eyebrow. Your friend smirks, trying to look innocent. You don't buy it. You narrow your eyes and ask, "Was that really an accident?" Your friend smirks, pretending like he had nothing to do with it. You're not fooled. Instead of getting mad, you grab the nearest bottle. You grin and say, "Well, this isn't on purpose either," before giving him a taste of his own medicine. Laughter erupts as revenge is served. Instead of getting mad, you grab a drink and grin. "Oops, guess that was an accident too," you say, splashing him back. Everyone bursts into laughter. Fast forward to another day. You text a friend about weekend plans. No reply. Hours pass, then a whole day. But you see him posting online, commenting on memes, and replying to others. A different day, same story. You send him a text about weekend plans. No response. Hours go by. A whole day. But there he is, posting memes, liking pictures, chatting with other people. You sigh and mutter, "He purposely ignored my message." You know he saw it. You let out a deep breath and grumble, "He saw my message and just brushed it off." You're sure he read it. You know he had time to respond, but he didn't. Now, you're stuck deciding, should you ignore him when he finally texts back? You're sure he had a moment to reply, but he chose not to. Now you're left wondering, should you just leave him hanging when he finally writes something? Your phone buzzes. It's him. "Hey, sorry, I just saw this." You stare at the message, debating. You think, did he really just see it, or is he just pretending? Your phone vibrates. It's him. "Hey, just saw your message." You look at it thinking, yeah, right, you saw it yesterday. Now, do you reply or leave him hanging? So, what do all these situations have in common? Purpose, a reason, an intention. Something done with meaning, or sometimes without it. So, what's the connection between all these moments? It's all about having a reason behind an action, or sometimes just doing something without thinking. The word purpose comes from Old French porpos, meaning intention, aim, plan. It's all about having a goal, a reason for doing something. The word purpose traces back to Old French porpos, which was all about having a goal or a plan. Basically, it's why you do what you do. In the meeting, you asked about the purpose because nothing seemed to have one. At the party, you wanted to know if the spill was on purpose. Was it planned or just bad luck? At work, you asked about the purpose because the meeting felt pointless. At the party, you questioned whether the spill was an accident or intentional. And when your friend ignored your message, you knew it was purposely, not an accident, but a choice. Sometimes purpose is clear. Other times, it's hidden. And when your friend didn't reply, it wasn't a mistake. It was a decision. Sometimes the reason behind an action is obvious. Other times, it's not so clear. You might say, I need a sense of purpose in my life. When life feels aimless, having a goal helps. You could put it this way: I want to have something meaningful to do. When life lacks direction, a goal makes a difference. Or ask, do you think they did that on purpose? When someone's actions seem too precise to be an accident. Or maybe you ask, was that really an accident or did they mean to do it? When something seems just a little too well timed. Or even complain, she purposely left me out of the group chat. When you know someone made a decision that affected you. Or you might vent, she totally didn't invite me on purpose. When you know someone left you out intentionally, it stings even more. Purpose is all about intent. Sometimes it's obvious. Other times it's a mystery. But without purpose, things feel empty. Having a reason behind what you do matters. Sometimes it's clear, sometimes it's not. But when nothing has meaning, it just feels pointless. When there's no clear purpose, like in a never-ending meeting, you start questioning why you're even there. Purpose gives things meaning, direction, clarity. When nothing seems to have a reason, like that awful meeting, it just feels like a waste of time. Having a goal or reason makes everything feel more important. So think about it. When was the last time you used the word purpose? Have you ever done something on purpose or purposely ignored a message? Now think about it. When's the last time you used this word? Have you ever done something intentionally or chosen to ignore someone's text? Next time you use this word, remember, it's all about intention. So next time, pay attention to the reason behind things. It's all about the why. Gandhi didn't fight with guns or swords. He had something stronger, belief. His higher purpose was clear. He wanted to free India without violence. Gandhi didn't need weapons to fight. He believed in something more powerful, peace. His higher purpose was to free India without using force. People asked him, why don't you fight back? He could reply, violence only brings more violence. My higher purpose is peace. People wondered why he didn't fight like others. He would say, hurting people won't fix anything. My higher purpose is to bring change peacefully. Years passed. He walked, protested, got arrested. But he never changed his path. His purpose gave him strength, even when things seemed impossible. He kept going no matter what. He marched, spoke out, even went to jail. His purpose gave him the strength to keep fighting in his own way. In the end, India gained independence, not through war, but through determination and unity. A higher purpose isn't just about what you want. In the end, India became free, not because of war, but because people stayed determined and worked together. A higher purpose is bigger than personal goals. It's about something bigger than yourself. Gandhi's purpose wasn't just freedom. It was a vision of a better world. It's about more than one person. Gandhi didn't just want freedom. He wanted to create a world where people solved problems without violence. Sometimes things don't go as planned. The Eiffel Tower was supposed to stand for a short time. When the World's Fair ended, people wanted it gone. Plans change. The Eiffel Tower wasn't meant to be permanent. When the event ended, many thought it should be removed. It's ugly, they said. Tear it down. But instead, they repurposed it for radio signals. It found a new purpose, something unexpected. It's an eyesore, people said. Get rid of it. But instead, they repurposed it, turning it into a tool for communication. You might think something has no use, an engineer could say. But if you repurpose it, it can be useful in a new way. Something might seem useless, an engineer might say, but if you find a new way to use it, it can still have value. The tower became more than just metal and bolts. It sent messages, connected people, and became a symbol of France. The tower was no longer just a structure of metal and screws. It shared signals, brought people together, and turned into a proud sign of the country. Something that once had no future was given a new life. Repurposing isn't just for buildings. People do it too. What seemed pointless got a second chance. Repurposing isn't just about objects. People change paths too. When one path ends, another can begin. Like Gandhi, who started as a lawyer but repurposed his life for a greater mission. Sometimes life takes a new direction. Gandhi thought he'd be a lawyer, but he found something bigger to fight for. Purpose isn't fixed. It can change, grow, and find new meaning. What seems useless today may serve something bigger tomorrow. Your purpose isn't set in stone. It can shift, expand, and take on new meaning. What seems pointless now might be important later. The Berlin Wall was different. It was built for one purpose: to divide. This wall will keep people in, East German leaders could say. The Berlin Wall was built for one reason: to keep people apart. This wall will stop people from leaving, leaders in East Germany might have said. And for decades, it served its purpose. It was strong, unbreakable, a symbol of control. But purpose isn't always good. Sometimes it needs to end. For years, the wall did its job. It kept people trapped. But not every purpose is worth keeping forever. Some things need to change. Years passed and the world changed. People wanted freedom. They stood in front of the wall, demanding change. Time moved on and people had enough. They gathered at the wall, demanding a new future. "This wall has no purpose anymore," they shouted. And one day, it fell. A purpose can be useful for a time. "We don't need this wall anymore," they protested. And finally, it came down. Some things are useful for a while, but not forever. But that doesn't mean it should last forever. Like the Eiffel Tower found a new role, the Berlin Wall lost its reason to exist. Just because something had a purpose once doesn't mean it should stay. The Eiffel Tower found a new use, but the Berlin Wall had to go. A higher purpose gives direction. Repurposing gives second chances. Serving a purpose isn't always good. It depends on what that purpose is. A great goal helps guide you. Finding a new purpose can open new doors. Not every plan is good. It all depends on how it affects people. What's your purpose? Maybe it's clear, maybe it's changing. But one thing is certain: purpose shapes history, and it shapes us. Do you know what drives you? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But one thing is sure: what we aim for defines who we are. Imagine you're on a plane, heading to a dream destination. The guy next to you, dressed in a sharp suit, starts a conversation. "Business or pleasure?" he asks. Picture yourself on a flight to a place you've always wanted to visit. The man beside you, looking professional, turns and asks, "Are you traveling for work or fun?" You smile. "A bit of both, but the main purpose of this trip is work." He chuckles. "Ah, classic. Meetings by day, cocktails by night." You grin. "Mostly work, but I'm hoping to enjoy it too." He laughs. "Let me guess. Serious during the day, but you'll find time to relax later?" You laugh because, well, he's not wrong. Your calendar is full of meetings, but you also packed a swimsuit. That's the thing about purpose. Sometimes it's clear, sometimes it shifts. You chuckle because, honestly, he has a point. Your schedule is packed, but you still made room for fun. Plans don't always stay the same, do they? Ever had a trip where your plan changed? Maybe you went for work but made a life-changing connection. Or you planned a fun getaway and ended up with a new business idea. Have you ever gone somewhere expecting one thing but walked away with something totally different? Like a work trip that led to an amazing new opportunity? You might say, "At first my main purpose was business, but it turned into something bigger." Purpose isn't always fixed, it evolves. Sometimes you only realize what it was after everything is over. You could say, "I started out just focused on work, but in the end, it became much more." Sometimes we don't see the bigger picture until later. Have you ever met someone who seems to have their whole life figured out? And then there's the rest of us staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m. thinking, what am I even doing? You know those people who seem to have everything sorted? And then there's the rest of us, lying in bed at night wondering what we're even doing with our lives. Your best friend calls. Dude, I just signed up for a pottery class. You raise an eyebrow. Since when do you like pottery? Your phone rings. Bro, I just enrolled in a pottery course? You pause. Wait, since when were you into that? They sigh. I'm still trying to find my life's purpose. You nod because last week you were convinced that yoga was your calling. They groan. I have no idea what I'm doing with my life. You nod because, well, last week you thought meditation was going to change everything. That's the thing. Life's purpose is tricky. Some people know theirs from the start. Others spend years searching. And sometimes you only find it by trying random things. Finding meaning isn't easy. Some people just know what they want, while others have to try a million things before something finally clicks. You could say, I used to think my life's purpose was making money, but now I just want to do something meaningful. At first, I thought the most important thing was making money, but now I just want to do something that actually matters to me. Purpose isn't just about goals, it's about meaning. What excites you? What makes you feel alive? It's okay if you don't know yet. Maybe searching for purpose is part of the purpose. It's not just about what you achieve. It's about what makes your life feel worthwhile. What drives you? What keeps you going? Maybe figuring it out is the whole point. Let me take you to a place where caffeine and panic keep people awake. Welcome to the university library at 3 a.m., where students huddle over laptops, desperately trying to stay focused. Picture a place where coffee and stress are the only things keeping people awake. That's the library at 3 a.m., students glued to their screens hoping they can stay up long enough to finish. One of them mutters, "We're here for the purpose of studying." Another yawns. Are we, though? The table bursts into tired laughter. Someone mumbles, "Technically, we came to study." Another stretches. Yeah, but is that really happening? The whole group laughs because they all know the truth. Right now, it's less about learning and more about surviving, for the purpose of means with a goal in mind. But let's be honest, goals change. At this point, it's not even about studying anymore. It's just about making it through the night. We start with one goal, but things don't always go as planned. They came here to study, but now it's just about making it through the night. You could say, I went to the gym for the purpose of getting fit, but now I just go for the free Wi-Fi. They started with good intentions, but now it's all about survival. It's like saying, I joined the gym to get fit, but now I mostly sit there scrolling on my phone. Purpose works like that. It starts as one thing, then life happens. The same way students come to study but stay for friendships. Business trips turn into vacations. You start with one plan, but life takes you somewhere else. Like students who come to study but end up making lifelong friends. Or work trips that turn into a bit of a getaway. People search for meaning and find it in unexpected places. So, where do you use the word purpose? In work? In life? In everyday goals? We go looking for one thing and often find something totally unexpected. Where do you think purpose fits best? Your career, your relationships, or something else? And does it always stay the same? Or does it change? Just like us. Is it something fixed or does it shift as we grow? Imagine you're at a job interview. You're dressed well, sitting up straight, trying to look confident. The interviewer leans forward and asks, "What drives you?" Picture yourself in an interview trying to make a good impression. You sit up straight, dressed sharp, when the interviewer asks, "What keeps you going?" You take a deep breath and say, "I have a strong sense of purpose." He nods, interested. You feel good. Just to lighten the mood, you add, "I also have a strong sense of when lunch is coming." You take a second, breathe in, and confidently say, I know exactly what I want in life. The interviewer seems impressed. Trying to be funny, you add, and I also always know when it's time to eat. The interviewer laughs. Good sign, right? But as you walk out, you wonder, did I just impress him, or did I just become the lunch guy? He chuckles, which feels like a win. But as you leave, you think, did I nail that, or just brand myself as the guy who only thinks about food? Where have you used purpose in your life? Maybe in a job interview, maybe in a personal conversation. It's a powerful word. Purpose means having a goal, a reason to do something. When have you talked about having a clear goal? Maybe in an interview, maybe with a friend. Knowing why you do something gives it meaning. It's what keeps people moving forward. You might say, she has a strong sense of purpose when talking about someone who's motivated and knows exactly what they want. It's what pushes people to keep going. If someone is really driven and clear about their goals, you'd probably say, she knows exactly what she's working toward. You seem really focused. Yeah, I have a strong sense of purpose. Having purpose makes people take you seriously. Imagine two employees. One drifts through the day, the other works hard with a clear goal. You look really determined. Yeah, I know what I'm working toward. When someone has direction, others respect them. Think about two workers. One just gets through the day, the other puts in real effort. Who gets the promotion? Exactly. Guess who's moving up in life? No surprise there. You're stuck in traffic. Cars aren't moving. You're late. You sigh, tap the steering wheel, and start ranting. Why is this road always packed? Who even designed this city? Sitting in traffic, not moving, already late. You groan, tap the wheel, and start venting. Why is this road always jammed? Who thought this was a good idea? You keep going until your friend in the passenger seat says, it serves no purpose to complain. You roll your eyes but realize, he's right. Complaining won't move the traffic. You keep grumbling until your friend finally says, talking about it won't change anything. You sigh, knowing deep down they're right. Your words won't magically clear the road. But let's be real, sometimes complaining just feels good. So you shrug and say, maybe not, but sure is fun. And that's fair, but does it actually help? Not really. Still, we all know complaining can be satisfying. So you smirk and say, yeah, but it makes me feel better. And honestly, sometimes that's enough. It just doesn't fix anything. This phrase is useful when someone won't stop talking about a problem they can't change. You're complaining again. Yeah, but I need to vent. It serves no purpose to complain. Use this when someone won't stop going on about something they can't change. You're whining again. I know, but I need to get it out. Well, it's not fixing anything. It's like yelling at the rain hoping it'll stop. No point, right? Instead, you could put on a podcast, listen to music, or just accept it. Sometimes letting go is better than complaining. It's like shaking your fist at the sky, thinking the weather will listen. Won't work. Better to distract yourself, play some music, listen to something interesting, or just let it go. You're at a family dinner. Everyone's chatting, eating, laughing. Then, out of nowhere, your aunt turns to you and asks, so, when are you getting married? You're sitting with your family, having a nice meal, when suddenly your aunt looks at you and says, so, when's the wedding? You freeze. Your brain short-circuits. Instead of answering, you blurt out, I had no purpose in saying that. But wait, you didn't even say anything yet. You panic. Your brain shuts down. Instead of answering, you blurt out, I didn't mean to say that, but you never actually said anything. Now everyone's looking at you confused. Your aunt leans in, even more curious. So, when? You sigh. No way out now. Eyes are on you. Your aunt is locked in, waiting. Well, any plans? You sigh. No escaping this one. Ever had one of those moments where words just spill out? Sometimes we say things without thinking. Maybe you've been there? You ever say something so fast your brain doesn't catch up? We all do it. Words come out before we even think. You talk too much. I had no purpose in saying that. It's a funny way to admit you just said something random. You never stop talking. Yeah, I don't even know why I said that. A lighthearted way to admit you're just saying stuff. It also shows how purpose isn't just about big life goals, it's about little things too. Every word, every action, every decision, there's a reason behind them. Or at least there should be. It's not just about big plans. Even small things, what we say, what we do, should have some kind of reason. Otherwise, what's the point? So, what does purpose really mean? It's about direction. It's about knowing why you do something. What's this all about? It's having a clear reason behind what you do, knowing where you're going. When you have a strong sense of purpose, people respect you. When something serves no purpose, it's useless. When you know what you're doing and why, people take you seriously. When something has no reason behind it, it's just a waste of time. And when you talk without purpose, well, you might just end up in an awkward family dinner situation. And if you speak without thinking, well, you might end up in a conversation you really didn't want to have. Now think about it. What's your purpose today? So, what's driving you today? What's your reason for doing what you do? Imagine you're in an old attic, filled with forgotten things. The air smells like dust and memories. In the corner, you see a wobbly wooden chair. It looks like it's been sitting there for years, untouched. You're in a dusty attic, surrounded by old stuff no one has touched in ages. The air is thick with the smell of time. In one corner, there's a shaky wooden chair that looks like it might collapse any second. Who would ever sit on this thing? You think, shaking your head. Then you need something to reach a high shelf. The chair suddenly becomes your best option. Carefully, you step on it, stretching to grab a box. You look at the chair and laugh, thinking no one in their right mind would sit on it. But when you need to reach something way up high, you realize it's your only choice. You climb on, hoping it holds. Success. Later, your grandfather walks in and sits right on that same chair, cracking walnuts with a hammer. He looks at you and laughs. This old chair still serves a purpose, he says. You grab what you need. Later, your grandpa walks in, sits right on that same chair, and starts cracking walnuts. He grins at you and says, "See? It still does the job just fine." Where else could you use this phrase? Maybe about an old phone that still works, a worn but comfortable jacket, a beat-up car that still runs. I know it's old, but it still serves a purpose. You could say the same thing about an old phone that still makes calls, a jacket that's falling apart but still keeps you warm, or a rusty car that still gets you where you need to go. That's the thing. Just because something looks useless doesn't mean it is. Sometimes you just need to see it in a new way. Just because something seems broken or outdated doesn't mean it's worthless. Sometimes it's just about how you look at it. You're sitting in a job interview. Nervous, the hiring manager leans forward with a strange smile. You're in the middle of a job interview, feeling jittery. The person in charge leans in, grinning in a weird way. Then they ask, if you could be any kitchen utensil, what would you be? Then comes the question, if you had to be a kitchen tool, which one would you pick? Wait, a what? Your mind goes blank. A spoon? A spatula? Why does this even matter? You blink and ask, what's the real purpose of this question? Your brain freezes. What kind of question is that? A spoon? A whisk? You stare for a second, then decide to ask, why are you even asking this? What's the point? The manager grins. We just want to see how you think. Now you get it. It's not really about kitchen utensils. It's about problem solving. You quickly answer, a Swiss Army knife because I can adapt to anything. The interviewer smirks. We just want to see how you think on your feet. Oh, it's not really about kitchen tools. It's about creativity. So you go with a multi-tool. I can handle anything. Smart answer. And guess what? You get the job. See how tricky real purpose can be? Sometimes things seem simple on the surface, but there's a deeper reason behind them. Clever move. Turns out that weird question was actually a test, and you passed. Sometimes what seems random actually has a hidden meaning. What's the real purpose of this rule? I don't see the real purpose of this meeting. It's about looking beyond the obvious, because sometimes the first answer isn't the truth. People use this when something doesn't seem to make sense, like why does this rule even exist? Or why are we having this meeting? A lot of times, what seems pointless actually has a reason behind it. You're packing for a weekend trip. Small bag, big dreams. But you want to bring everything: hairdryer, knife, bottle opener, flashlight. Your friend stares at you. Are you serious? You're packing for a short trip. Your suitcase is tiny, but you're trying to stuff it with everything: hairdryer, flashlight, bottle opener, and more. Your friend looks at you like you've lost it. You grin and hold up a single object: a Swiss Army knife. Relax, I love this multi-purpose tool. Later, when the wine bottle won't open, who saves the night? You, because you planned ahead. You smirk, pull out a compact gadget, and say, "Don't worry, this little thing does it all." Later, when no one can open a bottle, guess who saves the day? You, because you came prepared. A multi-purpose thing is useful in different ways. A sofa bed? Multi-purpose. A phone with a camera, GPS, and flashlight? Multi-purpose. This backpack is multi-purpose. It works for work and travel. Some things are just super practical. A couch that turns into a bed? Handy. A phone that does 100 things? Even better. Like a bag that's good for both work and travel, it's always smart to have things that can do more than one job. I need a multi-purpose jacket for all seasons. And just like that, these meanings connect. A chair that still serves a purpose, a question with a real purpose, a tool that has many purposes. I want a jacket that works in winter, summer, and everything in between. See how these ideas fit together? Things that still work, things that have a hidden reason, and things that can do more than one job. At the end of the day, everything has a purpose. It just depends on how you see it. In the end, nothing is completely useless. It's all about how you look at it. The sky was dark, but the world was watching. It was July 1969, and Apollo 11 was about to land on the moon. The night was quiet, but millions of people held their breath. Apollo 11 was finally reaching it. Scientists, engineers, and astronauts had worked for years with one clear purpose. They wanted to put a man on the moon before the Soviets. For years, experts and astronauts had one big goal: to land on the moon before their rivals. You might say, NASA had one purpose: to win the space race. Some people might say, NASA only cared about one thing: beating the Soviets in space. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin stepped onto the moon. Their mission had a goal, a direction. When Armstrong and Aldrin walked on the moon, they proved their mission had a clear goal. Without purpose, they wouldn't have made it. Purpose is what pushes people to achieve great things. If they had no goal, they wouldn't have succeeded. Having something to strive for helps people reach amazing heights. Not everyone uses purpose in a good way. Sometimes people do things on purpose to get what they want, even if it harms others. Not all intentions are good. Some people do bad things on purpose just to get ahead. In 64 AD, a fire burned through Rome for days. The city turned to ash, people lost their homes, and chaos spread. Back in 64 AD, a huge fire destroyed Rome. It burned for days, leaving thousands without homes. But soon rumors started. Was this really an accident? Many believed Emperor Nero had set the fire on purpose. Soon people started whispering, was the fire really an accident? Some believed Nero had planned it. You could ask, did Nero burn the city on purpose to build his dream Rome? Someone might wonder, did Nero really burn the city just to build a new one? No one could prove it, but people talked. Maybe he wanted to erase the old city and create a new one. Maybe he just let it burn. Nobody had proof, but people kept talking. Maybe he wanted to wipe out the old city and start fresh. Maybe he just didn't stop the fire. Unlike NASA's mission, which had a clear purpose for progress, this act, if true, was selfish and destructive. NASA's mission was about moving forward and achieving something great. If Nero really started the fire, he did it for himself and caused disaster. Now imagine having no purpose at all, nothing to aim for, nothing to wake up for. Think about waking up every day with no goal, no reason to keep going. That's how many soldiers felt after World War I. They had spent years fighting, following orders, surviving. After World War I, many soldiers felt completely lost. For years, all they knew was war, rules, and survival. But when the war ended, they didn't know what to do anymore. They felt lost. Once the war was over, they had no idea what to do next. They felt stuck. You might think, many veterans felt lost after the war, like they had no purpose anymore. People might say, after the war, many soldiers didn't know what to do with their lives. Some tried to return to normal life, but it wasn't easy. Others felt empty, like they had no reason to keep going. Some tried to get back to normal, but it was tough. Others felt like nothing mattered anymore. Without purpose, life can feel meaningless. Unlike the Apollo mission, which had a goal, or Nero's fire, which might have had a hidden plan, these men had nothing left to guide them. When there's no reason to move forward, life feels empty. NASA had a mission, and even Nero may have had a plan, but these soldiers had nothing. So, what is purpose? It's direction. It's a reason to act. What does it mean to have direction? It's having a reason to do something, a push to move forward. Sometimes, like NASA, it leads to something great. Sometimes, like Nero's fire, it's used for destruction. It can lead to amazing things like space travel, but it can also cause disaster, like a city burning down. And sometimes when it's missing, people feel lost. Without it, people don't know where to go or what to do. Purpose is what makes actions matter. It's what gives people a reason to move forward. When you know why you're doing something, it just makes more sense. Whether it's reaching the moon, shaping a city, or rebuilding a life, purpose is the force that keeps the world going. No matter if it's exploring space, changing a country, or starting over, having a reason to act keeps life moving. Imagine this. You wake up on a lazy Saturday morning, scrolling through your phone, wondering what to do. The day stretches ahead, empty. Then a friend texts, "Hey, want to help out at the animal shelter today?" Picture this. It's Saturday morning and you've got nothing planned. You're just lying there, scrolling on your phone, bored. Then your friend asks if you want to help at an animal shelter. You hesitate. Volunteering? Not exactly your idea of fun. But you go anyway. At first, it's just cleaning cages and refilling food bowls. Nothing exciting. Then you notice a tiny puppy, too weak to stand. You're not sure if you want to go. Helping out for free? Doesn't sound fun, but you give it a shot. At first, it's just cleaning and feeding. Then you see this tiny, fragile puppy struggling to stand. He looks at you, eyes full of trust, and leans against your hand. Something shifts inside you. This isn't just about them. Volunteering gives me a sense of purpose. You think, you're not just passing time. The puppy stares at you with big, trusting eyes and rests his head on your hand. And suddenly, something clicks. This isn't just about keeping busy. You're actually making a difference. You might say, I finally feel like I'm doing something that matters. Or maybe helping others gives me a sense of purpose I didn't know I needed. You might think, wow, this actually feels meaningful. Or even, I didn't realize how much I needed to do something that actually helps others. Have you ever felt that way, like you finally found something bigger than yourself? That's a sense of purpose. It's like finding the missing piece of a puzzle. Have you ever done something that made everything feel right? Like you finally found something worth doing? It's like when you finish a puzzle and that last piece just fits. Have you ever met someone who just seems lost? Not literally, but like they're drifting through life? That's Tom. He wakes up, scrolls his phone, goes to work, comes home, watches TV. Every day looks the same. You ever know someone who seems stuck? Like they're just going through the motions day after day? That's Tom. He wakes up, stares at his phone, goes to work, comes home, and zones out. No excitement, no passion. His friends invite him places, but he just shrugs. Nothing seems interesting. One day, his friend drags him to a painting class. Tom rolls his eyes but goes along. Nothing excites him. His friends ask him to hang out, but he never feels like it. Then one day, a friend basically forces him to try a painting class. Tom isn't thrilled, but he goes. He picks up a brush, dips it in paint, and moves it across the canvas. Something clicks. Hours pass, but he doesn't notice. For the first time in a long time, he feels awake. He grabs a paintbrush, puts some color on the canvas, and suddenly it feels right. Time flies. He forgets everything else. For the first time in years, he actually feels alive. He had a lack of purpose before, but now maybe he's found one. You might say, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. I feel like I have no purpose. Before, he was just going through the motions, but now, maybe he's finally found something real. Someone might say, I feel stuck. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. Someone might ask, why do you look so lost? Do you feel like you have no purpose? Without purpose, life feels empty, like floating with no direction. A friend might say, hey, what's wrong? You seem like you're just drifting. When you don't have something to work toward, life feels pointless, like you're just going through the motions. You know when someone says something that just feels off? Emma's boss calls her in and smiles a little too much. We really value you here. The words sound nice, but something isn't right. You ever have someone say something that just doesn't sit right? Emma's boss calls her into his office, smiling a little too much. You're such an important part of this company, he says. It sounds nice, but feels fake. Then comes the real message. That's why we're giving you more responsibility, with no extra pay. Ah, there it is. She feels like there's a hidden purpose behind his words. Then he drops the real reason. So we're adding more to your workload, but keeping your salary the same. And just like that, she knows. This wasn't a compliment. It was a setup. He's not really praising her. He's just trying to make the bad news sound better. You might think, that compliment felt fake. I feel like there's a hidden purpose behind it. He's not actually appreciating her. He's just making bad news sound nicer. You might say, I don't trust that. Feels like there's something else going on. Someone could say, watch out for him. There's always a hidden purpose behind his kindness. A hidden purpose is like a secret message behind someone's words. It's what they don't say. People might warn, be careful, he always has a reason for being nice. A hidden purpose is like an invisible agenda, something going on behind the scenes that they're not telling you. At first, these meanings seem different, but they all connect. A sense of purpose gives life meaning. A lack of purpose makes life feel empty. A hidden purpose means something is there but not obvious. At first, these ideas seem unrelated, but they're all about meaning. If you don't have it, life feels dull. If it's hidden, you have to look deeper to see what's really going on. In the end, purpose is all about meaning, whether you're searching for it, missing it, or hiding it. So, where do you find purpose in your life? At the core, it's all about what makes life feel valuable. What gets you out of bed in the morning? What keeps you moving forward? The Greeks stood outside Troy, staring at the massive wooden horse. It was a gift. Or at least that's what the Trojans thought. They pulled it inside the city, celebrating what they believed was a victory. The Trojans thought they had won. They saw the giant horse as a gift and happily dragged it into their city, thinking the war was over. That night, when the city was asleep, Greek soldiers climbed out and opened the gates. Troy fell before dawn. The Trojans had no idea what they had really invited inside. While the Trojans were sleeping, hidden soldiers slipped out of the horse and let in the Greek army. By sunrise, the city was doomed. "You might say," a Trojan guard could have whispered in shock, "we never understood the real purpose of this horse." Looking back, a Trojan soldier might have muttered, "We had no idea what this horse was really for." It looked harmless, but its true goal was hidden inside. Just like in life, things can seem simple on the surface, but have a deeper meaning underneath. It seemed like an innocent gift, but there was a trap inside. A lot of things in life look harmless at first, but turn out to be something completely different. Centuries later, another deception was unfolding. A telegram, just a few lines of text, was sent from Germany to Mexico. On the surface, it seemed like a routine message. Many years later, something similar happened. Germany sent a message to Mexico that looked normal, but it was actually part of a dangerous plan. But the British intercepted it and decoded something shocking. The hidden purpose of this telegram was to get Mexico to attack the US and keep them out of the war. The British got hold of the message and figured out the truth. Germany was secretly trying to get Mexico to go to war with the US. "You might think," a British officer could have said, "this is just a normal message, but no, its hidden purpose is to pull Mexico into the war." At first, this just looked like another boring telegram, but really it's meant to drag Mexico into the fight. The news spread fast. The US had stayed out of World War I until then, but this secret plan changed everything. A hidden purpose, once exposed, turned the course of history. Once the truth got out, everything changed. The US had been avoiding the war, but now they had no choice. This secret completely shifted history. People don't always say what they mean. Sometimes words and actions carry a second layer, one you don't see right away. That's how hidden purposes work, until they come to light. Not everything is as simple as it seems. People often have motives that aren't obvious. You might not notice at first, but the truth always comes out sooner or later. Years earlier, a sailor stood on the deck of his ship, staring at the horizon. Christopher Columbus had spent weeks at sea. He believed he was on his way to Asia. Many years before that, Columbus was on his ship, watching the ocean, sure he was about to reach Asia. He had no clue what was really ahead. But in reality, he was heading toward a land he didn't know existed. His purpose was clear: find a new route. But where he ended up was far from what he expected. He thought he had a clear plan, but he had no idea he was about to discover a whole new world. His goal was simple, but his journey took him somewhere unexpected. "You could say," one of his crew might have murmured, "he set sail for one thing, but he achieved his purpose in a different way." "I guess," a sailor might have said, "he was looking for one place, but ended up finding something even bigger." He reached land, thinking he had found India. He was wrong, but his mistake changed history. He still achieved his purpose: to discover new lands and open up new trade routes, just not in the way he planned. He thought he had made it to India, but he was way off. Still, even though he was wrong, his journey changed the world forever. The real purpose, the hidden purpose, achieving a purpose, all of them show different sides of the same idea. Sometimes we know our goal from the start. There's what we aim for, what's kept secret, and what we actually accomplish. Sometimes we have a clear goal right away and follow a straight path. Other times, the truth is disguised, waiting to be uncovered. And sometimes, even when we think we know where we're going, we end up somewhere unexpected. Other times, things aren't what they seem, and we only figure them out later. And sometimes we think we're heading one way, but life takes us in a whole new direction. But that doesn't mean we failed. It just means purpose comes in different forms. That doesn't mean we got it wrong. It just means that sometimes what we find is different from what we first imagined.